video. So yeah, I'm back in another video, and it's Wednesday now, the 9th of September. And 2 days ago on Monday, it was my birthday, the 7th of September. And do you know what I did on my birthday? I worked. But yeah, anyway, that was that. Happy birthday to me. Do I feel older? Not at all. I feel shorter if anything, but there's that. Anyway, this video is going to be a story time. I've got my little cup here to be sipping on. A lot of the times people are making like clubbing videos, like, oh, talking about clubbing in Korea, like crazy Korean clubbing videos, and it's really popular. And like one of my friends were like, oh my gosh, Louise, you should do like a crazy Korean clubbing video. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was thinking, I was like, what should I talk about? Because I got a lot. Like whenever I go to Korea, like it's scary because I basically live in a club or live in a bar somewhere. Alcoholic. But yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna take it back like 2 years ago. This was like in 2018 when I went to Korea, and I was staying in a hostel. I befriended people at the hostel that were really nice, and I still look fondly at the time my time in the hostel. I still talk to all the people that I met at the hostel because they were amazing. Just hands. But yeah, so but there was this one night I wanted to go out, and everyone else was busy except for this one girl, Melissa. I'm changing everyone's names, by the way, because anonymity purposes, and I'm not trying to get sued or anything or whatever. And we went to this bar now. It was a really fun night. I had fun, met some people. Melissa met this guy, and she's like, well, I'm gonna hang out with this guy, and we're probably gonna go home with this guy. And yeah, so yeah, she went with this guy, and it was fine or whatever. Like I was here, I was like, yeah, you can go, because like the entire time at the club, like she was with this guy. At some point they disappeared, and I was like, oh my gosh, where you go, where are you? But she told me like, I'm fine, I'm gonna go with this guy. And I was like, cool, whatever, bye, have fun, do what you gotta do or whatever. So she went, and I was like, all right, cool, what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna walk home by myself at 6 in the morning, because basically clubs and bars in Korea are open till as late as noon. Yeah, because when they party hard. So I'm almost like literally where at the hostel. I was literally around the corner from the hostel, and I walked past the 7-Eleven. I saw this like blonde girl. She was very foreign, and she was like, oh my god, I love your hair. And that's when I had like my cute braids or whatever. I might slap some pictures of the braids. Not these ones, by the way. Oh yeah, do you like my hair? Because I actually did it myself like a week ago, and these are supposed to be like knotless twists. But yeah, tell me how I did. And she started telling me like a very sob story saying, oh, I just got into a fight with my roommates, blah blah blah, and I don't want to be myself anymore, like would you mind staying with me? And I was like, girl, of course, us foreigners gotta stick together in South Korea. So imagine this was like 6 in the morning, and this girl commandeered a stranger, and I'm just like here like, my house is around the corner, I should be in bed right now, but instead I'm talking to strangers. Because you know when they say stranger danger, apparently that message has not registered in my brain yet, even at this grown ass age of 23, because I'm still talking to strangers every chance I get. But that's another story. So yeah, so this girl and I were talking, and then she even went to 7-Eleven, ordered some bottles of soju. By the way, soju is like Korean alcohol. So it's like whiskey. It's like, it feels like liquor, and it's really strong, and it can basically fuck you up. So basically she ordered like 2 bottles of soju, and we were out here like backing it, like necking it, like like we were backing it. And considering I just came back from a bar, I was there for over like 7 hours, and now I'm drinking it again with a bunch of like a stranger lady, you would have thought that I would have learnt my lesson by now, but I didn't. So I'm still drinking. She ordered snacks, and we're still talking, and she was like, hey, I've got an idea, let's go clubbing. And I was like, clubbing? But why? It's almost 8 o'clock. And she was like, yeah, so, you know, clubs open till like midday in Korea. And I was like, oh, gasp, yeah, let's go. Against better judgment, I was like, to some stranger lady, I was like, fuck it, let's go. So she's like, I'm not really dressed to go clubbing, because she's wearing like a t-shirt. So we went to her house. Again, I went to a stranger's house. You see how I'm begging to get kidnapped, but that's another story. So yeah, I went to her house and she changed and we were talking blah blah blah, and we were walking now in the streets of Hongdae, and we went to we were trying to get to a bar in Hongdae, I mean a club in Hongdae that was still open. So I went to walking, we bumped into like a bunch of Korean girls, and from that's when I realized my first red flag. This bitch was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like Korean girls are like so insecure about us. Like, you know, they are scared that us foreigners are here to like, you know, steal their boyfriends. So like they really don't like us. And I was like, I get that from everyone else but Korean girls. 'Cause I got Korean friends, female friends, and none of them class their man when I'm around. Like I ain't trying to sleep with anyone's man. I don't want anyone's man. And this girl was like, yeah, but it is what it is. So we were walking in Hongdae now, and went to like, we walked past this restaurant, and she was like, oh my gosh, my favorite restaurant. Before we go to the club, let's go get something to eat because I'm kind of hungry. And I was like, all right, cool. So we're at the restaurant now, and she's ordering. What do you want? And she was like, oh, you order. And I was like, okay, fine. So I got pork rinds, which is like pig skin. I love pig skins, favorite thing. But this girl didn't eat it, but we still ordered it anyway. She didn't like it. She's like, it looks raw, and I'm just like, it's not. It's actually cooked. But then she ate it, and then she's like, it looks raw, and I was like, first of all, that's gross. Don't spit it out. But yeah, she just didn't eat, and she just kept on drinking, and it was like a group of like Koreans on another table, and there was this guy that walks past her, and this girl was like, he just like grabbed onto his hand, and she was like, oh, cacao. Like really drunkenly, like cacao. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? So I had to like dismantle her from this poor guy's arm, because this guy was clearly with like a bunch of other friends. Like there were 2 girls and 2 guys in his table, and she was out here like doing all this, like embarrassing the guy and embarrassing me. So I was like, yo, what the hell, man? Like, what are you doing? Like, just let him go. She's like, I just want his cacao, blah blah blah. And she was like, the guy was like, no, I don't want it. And so like the guy walked away, and then she was like, oh, don't like him anyway. And I was like, what? But whatever. So like left this guy, and he went back to his table, and I think she wanted to like play some music, and she was like requesting a song, but it was really late, mind you. It was like 9 o'clock now, and it was just before 9 actually, and they were like trying to get everyone out so they can shut up and go home. Yeah, they were playing like ballads, and she went like a hip hop thing, and then they were like, no, it's killing the vibe, and like you guys need to go, like it's getting late. Early. And this girl was like, oh, I don't like this place anymore, they're racist. And I'm just like, excuse me, you don't drop the R-bomb like that, ma'am. No, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. You do, like, what? She's like, they're racist. And I'm just like, no, they're not. They just don't want your music, and we needs to go. And there was one thing I saw that actually put me off at the entire, like, me and her interaction. So I went to the toilet and washed my hands, met this lovely old lady. Everyone knows I love my ajumas. Ajuma in Hangul, aka Korean, means older lady. And I was like smiling to this ajuma, scraping for conversation to talk to my ajuma. And ajuma was so lovely. She was like, oh my god, you're so pretty. And I was like, thank you. It was calm. So I came back, and I was like, oh, I met the sweetest old lady in the toilet. She's like, oh, that's nice. So this girl now Martha decides to go to the toilet now to go pee or whatever, and she was there for a long time. So I went back in to check on her and make sure she was okay. So I went in and checked up on her, and homegirl was like spitting into the sink. And then the ajuma comes along, and she was like, oh, Anya, like, no, don't do that. Don't spit in the toilet. If you're gonna don't spit in the sink. If you're gonna spit in the toilet. And this girl started popping off on this little old lady. Like, she was like, oh my gosh, she's so mean to me. Why is she so mean to me? Like, she's being racist. Like, mind you, it's fucking night. Excuse me. It's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. She has just cleaned the toilet. So, of course, she's like, if you're gonna be sick in the toilet so it'll be easier to clean. Don't do it in the sink. And she started getting rude now. So, like, she just, like, got mad and she storms off. I stayed behind, like, this bitch. So, so yeah, she was like, so she left. And as soon as she left, I was like to the lady, I was like, I'm so sorry, I was apologizing in Korean. I was like, just sign me down. This is why when you go to another country, you have to learn how to say please, thank you, hello, goodbye, and I'm sorry for times like this. And yeah, so like she came back to the toilet, like, why are you taking so long? Don't apologize to her. Don't apologize on my behalf. And she just pulled me away, and I'm just like, what? Are you what? So like now we finally leave the restaurant, and I tried to pay because I only had my English card, but my English card only works in limited places in Korea. So I usually have to carry cash, and I had just used all my cash in the bar that went with Melissa. So I didn't really have cash on me. So this girl was like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll pay. And I was like, you sure? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. So I followed. So like she paid now, and I think she used most of her money. So she was left with like literally 7,001. It was like well after 9 now. The sun was high in the sky. It was a really hot day. I'm out here looking like a hot mess because I still have like smeared makeup from the night before. And she has lipstick all over her face kind of thing. So we were basically a hot mess. And I was aware of it. And then this girl sees a bunch of Korean people now. I think they were friends with the guys, like the people that we met in the first restaurant, because like I saw some similar, the same people with them. And then she was like pushing me. Oh my gosh, go talk to them, go talk to them, go talk to them. And I was like, what? I felt like she was pushing and pulling me at the same time. She's like, oh my gosh, girl. I was like, what the hell, girl? I don't want to talk to them. They're strangers. I just want to go clubbing now. And she's like, no, 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 no. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, we should go home soon. Like, I'm tired. We should go home. And then she basically pushed me to some of the guys, and I was like, oh my gosh, hi guys, sorry guys, bye guys. And I was walking away, trying to pull this bitch away, like, leave these nice people alone, like, ugh. So I was pulling them away. And then she was like, okay, well, I'm going to take you to my favorite place in Korea. It's one of my favorite places in Seoul. It's called, it's a waterfall. So I went there now and went to the waterfall, and it was another restaurant, and I was so pissed off because I felt deceived. And when we got there was this guy who was like holding onto my hand, and homeboy was like, come with me. Like he basically held onto my hand like this to take me to my table. He was a waiter, and I'm just like, what? Like, is that a custom in Korea to hold customers like this? I felt really uncomfortable. But this guy was like, you know, he was really handsy. And this girl was like, oh, she's like, I think he likes me. And I was like, I think he's young. And apparently he was, because this boy was barely 18 actually, 18, 19. I checked his Instagram and I unfollowed him right after that. But then he was like 18, 19. And then we were sitting, we were chilling, and she was like, come drink with us, the waiter, come drink with us. So she was pouring drinks for the waiter, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, like, we're playing drinking games with the waiter, who's supposed to be on job, by the way. And I was like, I don't want to drink anymore. And I was telling him, no alcohol, don't give her alcohol. And I just said in Korea, like, do not give her alcohol. And this guy was like, fuck it, I'm going to give her alcohol. So he gave her alcohol, knowing already that she was a drunk mess. And she was like, don't tell him what to do. Don't tell me what to do. And I was like, you know what, I'm tired. I want to go home. But she was like, please stay, please stay, please stay. You ate the pork rinds. I didn't really like pork rinds. I didn't like it, so I'm really hungry. And I was like, all right, fine. So we're playing, and she was eating or whatever. And this guy, like, there was a time where, like, we're playing, like, a stacking drinking game. And if you drop the tip over the stacks, like, you have to drink. And, like, I successfully did it. I think she knocked it over, but then she started throwing a tantrum saying, I dropped it. She's like, you did it, you dropped it. And I'm just like, bitch, are you dumb? Like, are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Huh? Honestly, like, she's like, you tipped it over. And I was like so done with her. I was like, fuck it, like, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna take a shot so we can move on and keep it kicking. I took a shot and I swung it back and I necked it like real hard, and it came out my nose and I was choking and whatnot, and I was like, bleh. Like, I spat all over the floor, and the guy obviously got up to clean it because it's his job. And this girl was like, no, you don't have to clean it. You don't have to clean it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. She's fine. Because he's trying to like tap me over and see if I'm okay. He's like, you good? You good? And she's like, nah, she's good. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm dying. And leave this man to do his job. He's working. And then towards the end, like, there was this really lovely ajumma at the restaurant. I love her to bits. She gave us free ice cream. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love you. So she gave us free ice cream, and this drunk bitch was like out here like feeding this lady's dog her ice cream that she gave her. She was like giving the dog. She was like, no, don't give the dog, don't give the dog. And she was like, no, it's for the dog, it's for the dog. And she was like, no, no, no. Even the waiter was taking the ice cream out of her arm, and then she was like throwing a tantrum saying, no, 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 it's for the dog. And I was like, fucking hell, man. But anyway, Like she gives the dog the ice cream. The dog, she takes it away from, like, the waiter takes the ice cream away from her. Then it comes to pay now. So obviously my English card having ass was trying to tap the card. It wasn't working. And then this girl, she tried to pay, and she was like 7,001 short. That's like £7 and she was like £6-7 short of the bill. So she was like throwing a tantrum now, like she ain't got money, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, well, I don't have cash. My card don't work. If I can go to an ATM or whatever, but yeah. So like she was like, nah 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 nah, and I'm just done with this bitch. I wanted to go home now. And then she was like to the waiter, well, you drank with us, so you have to cover the bill. So the waiter was like, all right, calm. So he paid for the other like 7,001 like it was nothing. He was like, relax, relax kind of thing. And it was funny because this waiter was actually doing the most as well. Like he was trying to move to me on the side and then trying to move to the girl on the side as well. He even said to me like, oh, I can speak English a little bit. I can speak a little bit of English. And I was like, okay. Do you want a medal? Like, I was totally, like, I wasn't even into this guy anymore. Like, he just was tall. He looks like some K-pop guy. But he looks like a young kid. And, like, that's not my style. And honestly, like, I ain't trying to get arrested for, say, statutory rape. So, I was minding my business. This girl's like, oh, my God, I think he likes me. And I was like, he's 12. Relax. She's like, oh, my God, shh. Age doesn't matter. In a really drunken state, and I'm just like, what? Of course it does. So she's like, oh yeah, we're gonna hang out with this guy even more. We're going to like another restaurant. I was like, I'm done. I'm going, but I need to pee. So I followed them to the next restaurant, the third one now. We didn't even make it to the stupid club. We were going to the third restaurant. I'm like, I'm going to this restaurant to pee, and then after that I'm going. They ordered sashimi, saw the sashimi come, and I left. And then when I went to the toilet, this guy, I don't know, I think he wasn't interested in her like at all. But she went out to smoke, and I was coming back, and that's when we exchanged like our Instagrams or whatever. And he was like, oh, let me add you. And I'm just like, okay. And I saw his Instagram. I realized he's like 18, 19. I was like, yeah, he's like a small boy for me. Like, I feel like this is child abuse just talking to you. So, yeah. So, like, I was like leaving now. I'm just like, I'm done. This bitch comes in now. She's like, oh my gosh. If you don't leave. If you want to go home with me, let me know. I'll let you go home with him. Blah, blah, blah. I'm fine. I was like, I don't want this guy. I want my bed. I want to go home by myself. I'm not going home with anybody. So I left. The sun was up in the sky. I was walking through the streets of Hongdae with my makeup on. Again, looking like a hot mess because my makeup was from last night. I should have been in bed like ages ago. And I looked at the time and it was like it was like noon. It was midday. I was going home at midday, from 6 to midday, guys. I was so frustrated. So I took a shower, got into bed, woke up again. It was like 7 p.m. when I finally woke up. So I was telling everyone at the hostel what happened, my endeavors with this bitch. And I was like, I didn't even check her IG or anything. Like, I don't know what she looks like. I didn't even give her my socials. Only for me to get a message on my cacao, and it's from this girl. And I was like, gasp. I gave her my cacao. So like she was like complaining and I'm crying. She's like, oh my gosh, I spent the day in jail. And I'm just like, what? How did this happen? She's like, I spent the day in jail, blah, blah, blah. It was all the waiter's fault, blah, blah, blah. And this waiter was, he used us, he wanted to go home with us, and when he realized he wasn't going to make it home with any of us, he kind of just like slipped, like he just ducked without paying. And of course, you know, she didn't have any money because she used all of it in the waterfall. And he ordered sashimi, which is like 20,001, and which is like 20 quid. But yeah, he ordered food, didn't pay for the food, and just disappeared, leaving her with the bill. And he did a diner's dash, is that what I don't know what it's called, dining dash, but yeah, he dined and dashed and then just like left her with the bill. And obviously like she was a drunk mess, so they tried to get her to pay, and she was like, oh, I can't pay, and I'm just like, yeah, so what happened? And she said, oh, it's not my fault. Like, I tried to explain to them, like, I've got money at home, let me go home so I can, like, get my money. And they said, all right. And again, you know, she was drunk, so they tried to, like, so actually pretended to walk her home, but they actually walked her to the police station. She got arrested, spent the day in jail. Apparently she had, like, a panic attack and an anxiety attack in jail, so they took her to the hospital, and they didn't even have anyone who spoke English, so they were just yelling at her, talking to her, and treating her like a perpetrator, even though she was a victim. I was like, but bitch, you had it coming. If we had gone home when I said to go home, I said let's go home 3 times, at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and just before I was ready to leave, and you still decided to follow Dick. And look what Dick got you, in jail, bitch. So yeah, so she decided to, like, she got in trouble, and she was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I was like, well, you had it coming. You had it coming. So yeah, she finally got released, and I think her friend came to pay the bill, and she got released, and she was so sad. And I'm just like, I just wasn't even sympathetic, because I was like, I told you so. And she was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, so what more do you want from me? And then she didn't really say anything, and I was like, so yeah. Because, like, I actually say that very sarcastically a lot. I didn't realize I was saying it, so I think she got pissed off and she never spoke to me again. So, yeah! Anyway, guys, that was my time with some chick that got arrested after a night out. And, yeah, man, tell me if you enjoyed the story, anything similar happened to you. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your loved ones. And anyone going to Korea planning to get pissed drunk or follow strangers like myself. Like, honestly, looking back now, I think I've got a problem. I think I'm subconsciously trying to get kidnapped, because the things that I did wrong, I'm just like, why am I doing this for, like, a stranger? But I think at the end of the day, I was doing it because I felt kind of guilty, because I encouraged her to drink so much. I was drinking with her. And I thought, well, if I drank with her, I at least need to make sure she's okay and need to go, and she makes it home all right. But then it got to the point where I knew she was not safe for me, because she's doing all of this, risking her safety as well. I was like, you know what, I gotta go home, because she's not my responsibility anymore. So I was like, you know what, I tried, I'm sorry, you don't want to go home, don't go home. And that's what happened, and homegirl got arrested. So, but yeah, anyway, I'll see you next week for another video, and that is a wrap, and zoop.